It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, October 6th. So today we have our new moon taking place in Libra. This is going to be a very interesting day. We have a lot going on, not only with the moon, but with some other major heavy-hitting planets on the move as well. There are 13 different aspects taking place today, and 9 of them involve the moon. Again, I'm going to recommend not only that you take this time to go visit October's energy forecast and the new moon in Libra event forecast that I've already posted, but also a huge reminder to go ahead and download your moon guide. We have a lot of manifesting to do. This is a beautiful energy to see some major transformations, major changes happen, and the moon guide is going to help you align your mind, body, and soul in order to get those tasks done. So the moon right out of the gate is going to sit across from Chiron, who of course is retrograde in Aries. Now, the moon in Libra right now being in the dark phase is not so sure of our thoughts and feelings, not so sure of what it is that we should do for here. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of doubts. We're not really clear on a whole lot. Again, when the new moon is taking place, the sky is dark. We have to sit in the darkness. This is a time to reflect. This is a time to really revise our plans. And the moon in Libra, sitting across from Chiron, retrograde in Aries, is kind of putting us at odds with our heart and our head, with our past and present moment, with what it is that we know we have to bust away from in order to create a new space for new elements to actually manifest. And Chiron, for the most part, is trying to illuminate for us our wounds so that we can unleash our inner warrior and boss up, using those wounds as a motivation to take action, to do what is right, to make some serious changes and transformations in our lives so that we can open ourselves up to love, to peace, to harmony. Mars, who is very active under this particular new moon energy, the god of war himself, ruling over physical energy, drive, action, passion, desires, aggression, even anger, is making an aspect with Uranus, the great awakener himself, who is retrograde in Tauran energy, really shaking us up in our relationships, in our money matters, in our resources, in our plans for the future. We have to have new ideas, new inspirations, new perspectives emerging right now on where it is that we do have to roll up our sleeves and take action. So here's a fun fact. Libran energy, very indecisive. We tend to get lost in our thoughts of the pros and cons and the details, and so unsure of what it is that we should do that we're constantly looking outside of ourselves to other people for their thoughts, their opinions, their 2 cents on the matters, when realistically their opinions don't matter. And this Libran energy is very much about trying to keep everybody happy. Here's the thing though, this Mars energy, Mars is the individual, and Mars is in Libra, which means that for the first time in a long time, yeah, of course, we want to see the people that we love happy, but right now, we just want ourselves to be happy. There's an energy taking over here where we need to stop thinking so much, because that derails us and it instills a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt when we sit there and we mull over things for too long. There's a certain energy taking place right now where it's kind of like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take this action. I'm going to make this move and I'll think about it later. Now that is very much that Mars impulse energy. But Mars is doing this right now to advocate for oneself, to do what is right for oneself, what is fair for oneself, what we actually want, need, and desire. And this isn't a bad thing. I think that especially on the global collective right now, it's, we live in a place of duality. Yeah, we're split down the middle. We want to do what's right for the collective, but not at a disservice to ourselves. I feel like many of us have gotten caught up with trying to do what we think is right by other people, that we've totally abandoned what we think is right for ourselves. And I think that this particular new moon event is going to activate an energy in us where we have to abandon the want, need, and desire to save other people at the mercy of our own selves. It's time to put ourselves back at the top of the list. And I feel like Mars bumping into Uranus right now is going to kind of create a little bit of a rebellious streak in us where, yeah, we're not out to harm anyone, but we sure as hell aren't putting everybody in our lives at the top of the list before ourselves anymore. We're taking our rank back. We're putting ourselves first, and we're rolling up our sleeves and taking action, speaking up, telling our truth, declaring what it is we want, need, and desire in all the right ways in order for us to actually feel like we are making a change and advocating for what is right in our lives for ourselves. So 7:05 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:05 Atlantic. That is when the moon and the sun come together, and that's when we have our new moon. And you'll find in the moon guide that we explore the fact that Mars is so closely knit and so closely integrated with this moon and this sun that we are just having a blast of life force. And of course, all this life force is coming together among these two luminaries and one planet sitting across from Chiron, which is our inner warrior. This is bossing us up in a way where we are tired of licking our wounds. We are tired of sitting in the sadness. We are tired of grieving over what could have been and what we wanted to be. And now we're ready to make a change. And that's not necessarily such a bad thing. Here's where things get interesting. Pluto is going direct. Pluto is the god of the underworld. He rules over our shadow self. He rules over destruction and death. For good reason, though. I don't want you to get scared about that. For the last 4 to 5 months, we have been sitting in what I like to call a pause button situation, where there's lots going on in our inner realms. We are, rapidly moving through thoughts and ideas and emotions, and we are illuminated to fears and insecurities and doubts, and we're being illuminated to where it is that we've given our power away and where it is that we feel controlled by external elements. And now that Pluto is going direct, we are going to see a huge transformation take place. Anytime that a planet is retrograde, that is energy that we work with on the inside of ourselves. And when a planet goes direct, that energy now gets exerted outside of ourselves, meaning we are going to see some dramatic shifts, some dramatic changes take place in a very short amount of time. Again, in the October energy forecast, we talked about coming into the month with 6 planets in a retrograde. By the time this is over, we have 2 planets left in a retrograde. That should speak volumes on how much transformation we can expect to see happen in the month of October. Again, please take a minute, go listen to this cosmic event forecast that I put out there. I go into great depth of what it is that we can expect to see, what it is we can expect to think and feel, especially in our individual lives compared to the greater, grander stage of the collective. But this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. This is where we kind of boss up in a brand new way, where we take our power back, where we stand into a place of control, where we roll up our sleeves, where we take action, and we start seeing physical changes take place in our lives. The moon bumps into Uranus. Uranus is a key factor in this new moon energy as well, really trying to wake us up. For those of you who are still sleeping, you're likely not listening to this, because many of us listening to this right now are very much awake. But we are going to level up our wokeness, if you will. There's new information coming in. There are new details emerging, shifting our perspective. There is a new aha moment, a new moment of genius, a new connection being made that will propel us on a brand new path and moving forward. The moon goes ahead and makes an aspect with Venus, and Venus is in her final days of being in Scorpio, very overwhelming intensity, really illuminating our desires to unify, to align with, and have an intimate connection on a soul level with the people in our lives. We have really done a lot of shadow work over the last month or so. We've been illuminated to new new values, new worth, not only within ourselves, not only in our skills and our talents and our abilities to create an income, but a new level of what we find to be the most important qualities and characteristics in a partnership, so that we're not living in the shallow end of life, where we're actually connected and committed and on the same page and just intertwined and integrated and meshed with the right kinds of people, supporting and encouraging our path forward, our visions, our dreams, our end goal. The moon in Libra, of course, is all about relationships, all about balancing the scales of relationships and doing what is right to make sure that everyone is happy. But of course, Venus in Scorpio has realized that she hasn't been very happy, right? Why should everybody else be happy if I'm not happy? I'm done sacrificing my own happiness for other people. Why continue this, right? She's about to jump into Sagittarius, which is going to be the light at the end of the tunnel that many of us need, especially after the last month of some very intense relationship dynamics emerging, illuminating for us our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, all the shadow parts of where it is that we just feel insecure and invaluable, especially, considering particular relationships that we know aren't meant for us, but our egos are overly attached to. So somehow we just stay in it. And all of that is coming to an end because a higher truth is emerging. A brand new truth is emerging. A lot of lies, a lot of betrayals were illuminated while Venus was in Scorpio. And now we can do something about that. We can open our mind to a brand new possibility, a brand new perspective moving forward, where we consider our values, where we consider what is important to us, where we consider where it is we need to draw a line in the sand in order to protect ourselves if we continue to keep these lower vibrational people in our lives for our own attachment reasons. So this is pretty illuminating at the fact that we got to get a grip. We've been living in extremes, especially where relationships are concerned, where our head and our heart are concerned. They've been at odds with one another. We know what we have to do at this particular point in order to clean the slate for a brand new energy exchange to take place. And again, we're not in a time of action. We're in a time of reflection here in the new moon phase. But we're thinking about all of the new elements we want to actually see take place and manifest in our lives. And this might even include new people that we are choosing to have a deeper connection and a deeper relationship with. The moon conjuncts Mars. This is kind of what I was speaking about earlier. Mars is a huge key factor in this particular new moon energy, really triggering us to be aggressive, to go after what it is we desire, to really kind of want to take action and make things happen and kind of step out of the realm of thinking things to death and just make a move and see what happens. Sometimes we sit back and we think of all the different possibilities of what could happen if I say this and this person comes back with that, and where does that put us? Well, sometimes it's just easier to go ahead and make a move in our physical realms, either speaking up, speaking out, speaking our truth, illuminating somebody to our thoughts, to our feelings, and giving them an opportunity to actually respond to that. It's a lot easier thinking about where it is that we actually stand in other people's lives by bringing it into reality instead of living in la-la land in our mental plane. The moon in Libra, conjunct sitting next to Mars, is really going to highlight a lot of very intense emotions in our heart space. And again, because things need to get dark in order for us to realize where it is that we're done with the pain and the suffering, in order for us to boss up and make a change, we have to kind of consider the fact that we might find these feelings overwhelming. We might find them so intense that we just want to escape, that we want to hulk out, that we want to rage out, that we just want to take action and bust through these obstacles and challenges and walls that we've created for ourselves and put ourselves out there. All things considered, yeah, we're scared of being rejected. Yeah, we're scared of being disappointed. Yeah, we're scared of things not going our way. But actually doing something about it and dealing with the repercussions of our actions is a lot easier than sitting back and thinking of all the variabilities, all of the possibilities, all of the way that things could go. And all we're doing is creating anxiety, creating an intensity and a pressure in our imaginary state, and kind of manifesting those not so nice situations that we don't want to be living, when realistically we could just make a move. We could speak up. We could just do something and see how other people respond, and then we'd know pretty quick where it is that we stand in our journey, in our efforts, in our attempt to actually move forward. Venus goes ahead and makes a little bit of a tension point with Mars, and this is definitely going to illuminate new passions, new desires, where it is that we're frustrated as hell with our current situation, especially where our feelings and relationships are concerned. Again, we've spent a lot of time with Venus and Scorpio really illuminating what it is that we're not happy with, where it is that, lies and betrayal, where it is that we're not really unifying and connecting to people in the way that we want because we have to keep a guard up. This is us recognizing, again, Venus, feminine energy, Mars, masculine energy, where it is that we have to balance the scales. Being in Libra season, under the new moon in Libra, where it's all about balancing the scales and finding stable ground. This is about receiving, and this is about action. Mars is action, Venus is receiving, right? Venus is intuition and feelings. Mars is physicality and assertion. There's give and take happening here. And we're recognizing where we've been giving, not taking enough, where other people have been taking and not giving enough. And of course, that disrupts the energy exchange within our relationships. That is leading us to feeling very dissatisfied with our current connections. So what are we going to do about it? Well, the moon is going to help us out in that front because the moon goes ahead and makes an aspect with the true node. The true node right now is trying to remind us of the two paths that we have to walk. One path is in a circle, bringing us back through the same topics and themes that we're overly attached to, that we're fearful for moving on from. The other path is unfamiliar territory, leading us away from these old stagnant relationships, thoughts, ideas, where it is that this unfamiliar territory is scary as hell, but where it is that we're somehow being called to boss up and jump into this unknown path because we want more for ourselves. We recognize that if we stay on the path of the old, walking in circles, we're only going to get the exact same thing that we've already got. Many of us are done with that. Many of us are fed up with that. Many of us are willing to take a risk right now, put a bet on whatever situation awaits us in this unfamiliar path, because we know that it cannot be any worse than what it is that we've already got. Again, we need to reflect on our decisions, on our choices, on our options, on the paths that are emerging in front of us. The moon goes ahead and conjunct sits next to Mercury, who is retrograde in Libra. This is really going to put a lot of pressure in our mental plane to reflect back on, well, if we stay on this path and we walk in a circle, we're likely going to unleash and hack up old topics, old themes of where we're not happy, where we're not balanced, where there's no love, where there's no peace, where there's no harmony. And of course, Mercury retrograde, especially in Libra, wants us to do what is right, wants us to think about making things right, especially for ourselves, to stop, sacrificing our own wants, needs, and desires for other people. The sun bumps into Uranus in a tension point. The sun, of course, in Libra, illuminating for us where it is that our focus is needed on reestablishing balance in our lives between our heart and our head in our personal relationships, doing what is right, doing what is fair, making efforts to incorporate more love, peace, and harmony in our lives, in all that we do. And of course, Uranian energy is the great awakener. Now, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, and Taurus and Libra are both ruled over by Venus, and Venus is in her last day of this very deep, dark, probing, detective-like energy of Scorpio. We have a lot of aha moments coming in. There are a lot of connections being made, a lot of realizations being had, and the sun with Uranian energy is going to blow our minds wide open to where it is that we need to cut the cord from these old attachments that are keeping us held back, blocked in a cycle of pain and trauma, in a cycle of just repeating itself over and over, which technically is insanity when we are expecting a different result. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Neptune, and this is really going to help us in a way if we're able to channel this energy in the right way, because this Neptune energy wants us to align with our higher selves, with our intuition, wants us to check out of our reality in order to float off into la la land and actually see what is possible, see the information coming in from our higher selves, from the cosmos, on where it is that maybe we've been too focused on our earthly realm, too focused on the details of what is, not focused enough on the possibilities of what could be. The moon is going to end this beautiful new moon day off with a trine with Jupiter. This is a beautiful energy because Jupiter just wants us to open our minds, open our hearts to new ways of doing things, to new opportunities, to new possibilities. The moon in Libra trining with Jupiter right now is a whole different energy level of just dreaming, just imagining, just trusting that this process is going to work out for us. Just renewing the confidence and the faith, not only in ourselves, but in the greater, grander plan of what's going on here. The moon in Libra is our emotions, and our emotions, for the most part, have been very unstable, semi-dark, kind of aggressive. And the moon trining Jupiter right now just wants us to push ourselves that much further, to really dive into our heart space, to really kind of debate the pros and cons of it all, to really kind of sit down and be logical and practical, but still open-minded enough to leave open the realm of possibility of magic. Magic comes from the cosmos. Magic is the divine plan. Magic is the greater, grander script that is going on that many of us are not privy to. We only look at the realm of possibilities based off of logic and practicality of our egoic intellect. The metaphysical realm, our intuition, our higher selves, the universe, that isn't egoic at all. That is spirit. And spirit has a whole realm of possibilities that our egoic avatars will never be able to see nor understand. So at this particular point in time, we are recognizing where it is that we have to, of course, take into account the logical and practical indicators in our physical realms and in our egoic lives, but also when aligning with our higher selves and intuition, know that we have to keep the door wide open to a wild card energy, to a blessing, to a opportunity of miracles and magic. And that is a beautiful energy to work with under a new moon, because under a new moon, we are supposed to be focusing on what it is that we want to see happen in our lives for the next lunar cycle. And although we are taking indicators from our physical realm of everything that isn't working in order for us to build a framework on the things that we do want to see work, we have to trust our spirit, our soul, our intuition, the cosmos. We have to trust that they see the bigger, greater plan for us. We have to at least open the door to the magic of blessings, miracles, and opportunity.